AskReddit by Where Full-On Belongs. Do you regret having kids? If so, why? Ask me again when it's not early on a Saturday morning. Right before Christmas, no less. No, but I do regret having kids with the person I had them with. This really fucked it up for myself. It's like you want some space, but then you miss them. But then you want them to magically disappear without being hurt for like a day, but you don't want them to die, but just want to sleep in. But if they oversleep you worry. Being a parent includes so many conflicting feelings. It's not the responsibility people hate, it's the constant attachment. You can't look away, you cannot not take care of them. Most frustrated parents just want time off, just like you take from a job. I know, I wish I had some. Yes. My 3-year is always moving, always running and jumping and screaming and barely sleeps and hasn't napped since he was 1. Then he started acting different after getting really sick. He wasn't sick anymore, but he just wanted to sleep in and lay around all the time. It was much quieter, and it was what I had wanted so bad, but I knew something was wrong, and all I wanted then was my crazy toddler back running around me in circles and screaming. It fucking sucks balls, but I don't regret it at all. I didn't come here to read about how people love their kids. I came here to read about how much kids suck and reassure myself that I made the right decision to never have kids. My mom resents me because I don't turn out to be the mini her. I take after my shitty, absent father while my little sister takes after her. She has expressed her regret marrying him. Whenever I make a mistake, big or small, she almost always say that I am exactly like my father. She makes it clear that it is not a compliment. What a cunt move. I don't regret having my boys, but I always caution people to wait long enough to know themselves a little better first. I say the same thing about marriage. I was married with my first kid by my 20th birthday. I am not the same person now that I was then. While some of that is the fact that kids change your experience and perspective by necessity, part of it just time. I will be an empty nester by 40, but I wonder sometimes if my boys would not have benefited from a more emotionally mature environment. In the end, I know my kids, and I know what awesome little humans they are. I wouldn't trade them for anything. Man, it would have been bad if I had kids at 20. I'm gonna be honest. I don't regret my child, but I can admit I was not prepared, and I blame myself a lot, to the point I had to get on meds to deal with the self-hate and shame of not being wealthy and being able to offer her organic food, brand name clothes, a beautiful princess room. Most of all, an emotionally stable mom. I do not regret my child, but I regret not being prepared to raise a human. I regret what I didn't do, such as take therapy, start antidepressants sooner, save money and finish my degree sooner, learning about health. Honestly, applauding your bravery. Parenthood is hard, and admitting what you realized is even harder. I regret my kids aren't living full lives. I regret choosing the wrong partner to have kids with. If I'm honest, I frequently regret it. I love them and would do anything for them, but caring for them is extremely draining for me, and I don't really feel fulfilled by it. We have 3 boys, 4, 6, 8, and are constantly breaking up fights. When I imagine doing this for another 15 years instead of going out and having adventures, I feel very claustrophobic. I hope that will change as they get older and I can share some more grown-up things with them. I guess part of the problem is I got married early and poured everything into grad school until I was 30. By that time we had 2 kids and the kinds of trips and hobbies we can pursue is pretty limited. So maybe if I had taken more time for myself before settling down and doing school, I would feel differently. As a man that remembers once being a boy in middle and high school, I think it will get better. By about 10 or so, I much preferred being with my friends playing Halo. My group of friends kind of alternated sleepovers at our parents' houses on the weekends and basically preferred being left alone to our own devices. No, but I do not recommend them. Thank you for being honest. I am 43 and childless, and went back and forth for years. I agonized over this choice. I had a few work friends that were a bit older all pull me aside individually and tell me that they love their children, but they wouldn't make the same choice again. I deeply appreciated their honesty, and went with my gut. My husband regrets having kids because he was too young, and both of them are very disabled in their own way, and neither will ever live a normal life. Speaking as a very disabled adult, the experience from this side of things is that we don't ever get to be normal, but our lives are still normal to us, or we have our own relative sense of normal. Our lives might be harder and objectively worse than normal, but I've met just as many able-bodied, neurotypical people who are far more miserable just because they feel like they are failing by those standards, because they have those advantages. Meanwhile, I feel like a fucking legend because I passed out from pain enough times today that it counted as enough sleep to treat my insomnia, and I'm unironically happy about it. I think it's hilarious. Relativity rules. You'd be absolutely amazed at what people can adapt to and grow around and become happy with, in the end. I love my children more than anything. There are times when I wish I could get a 1-month break from them and my husband. I just want to sit in the quiet and eat and not be touched and go for runs and read books, and I'd like to come home to a clean house. It's not regret, it's exhaustion. For my birthday this year I asked to be alone so I could watch TV in bed all day. My husband took our baby to his mom's for the day and hung out there. It was awesome and necessary. I regret it, then I don't regret it, then I regret it, then I don't regret it. I regret dating a woman with kids and becoming an expendable stepfather. I'm literally experiencing this at this very moment. Spent 8 years caring for my disabled wife and her autistic son. My wife decided she wanted a divorce and I haven't seen either of them since that day. I'm wrecked about that kid. Flip side, we couldn't have kids, spent a fortune on fertility treatments. Fast forward, we absolutely love being child free. We have freedom and money, a good circle of friends to laugh with. What can be better? I know kids are a blessing, but the only regret now is wasting all that money on fertility treatments. Life pro tip, can't regret having kids if you don't have them. That's my motto for that decision. Never had an urge to have children, always been kind of terrified of giving birth as well, but mainly didn't want any as the main reason, coupled with possible health issues that made me wary, too. In times of going through the what ifs, I've always thought exactly this. If it would go into a bad direction, not only my life would be ruined, but also the life of the little one. I couldn't bear the thought of being responsible that an innocent small person would suffer due to bad luck or bad genes coming through. I personally made the decision against kids out of love for the kids I won't have. I'm a child-free woman, 40s. A major reason I never had children is because so many of my female friends have confided in me that they regret having them. I also know 2 men who have said the same. The conversation usually starts with "I love my children, but if I could do it all over again I'd make the same decision as you did." They don't feel they can tell their other friends, who have children, this because it makes them look like bad parents. Not having any was the best decision I've ever made. Don't let society try to sell you on the idea that life can't be fulfilling without them. I am glad your friends can admit this because mine, in my 30s, are still in the misery loves company stage and are hoping I join them. Though I am 98% of the time hearing of birthing horror stories, the lack of sleep, free time help, emotionally absent significant other, frequent illnesses, increase of expenses, and the assumed plus very needed reliance on family members for free babysitting. Good thing they're not car salesmen. You can love your kids, and not love parenting. I regretted having a baby. But now that he's a toddler and we can talk and do stuff, it's actually fun. Babies are the worst. Kids are okay. Yes, It is way more stressful than you can imagine before having kids. After having kid number 2 a couple years ago, my mental health declined to the point where I needed to be psychiatric hospitalized 4 times this past year. Our society is not set up to support parents. Hugh. Love the rawness on this comment. I don't regret them at all. However, I am often sad about the world I brought them into, and sometimes I wonder the way things are going, if they would have been better off not being born. Before having a kid I was optimistic and driven to make a positive difference. Now, I just see the horrors of humanity they have to face. I worry for their future every single day. You have realized that not everyone is made for having children. People put huge pressure on others to have children and carry on the family line. That is stupid. It's not just about money. Well, it's mostly about money, but genetics should play a part. Mental and physical potential problems have to be looked into. My wife of 17 years and I chose not to have any and never looked back. 8 hours of sleep a night and money is what we have, and it's never been better. People do not think of the genetic aspects. I have some issues that I would just die if I passed on to another. I anticipated this regret and decided not to have children for that reason, among others. Smart to think of these things. I have a severely mentally ill teenager, and sometimes I'm afraid for my safety. Huge hug. I regret having 2 kids. My wife died unexpectedly when my youngest was 9 months old, and raising 2 young kids by oneself is pretty hard while working full-time. The amount of work for 2 kids, at least for young kids, is exponentially more than 1 kid. Yes. I thought I did the right thing by waiting until I was 30 and 31 to have them. I always thought I was meant to be a mom, and it's really just not for me. I have no time to myself and everything revolves around them. I feel like they deserve a different mom because I can get frustrated easily with them. I had to drop out of college when I was pregnant with them due to HG. I agreed to be a SAM after my second so I could spend more time with my kids and we could save money due to no daycare costs, and it's really affected my mental health. I feel like I've had to sacrifice a lot. Mental health, career, education, though I finally graduated last week, that I didn't realize I'd have to sacrifice. I love my kids so much, but if I could do it over, I think I'd choose to be child free or even have them at a different time. Congrats on graduating.